Injury attorney Dan Newland has 10,646 reviews on his Google business profile. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly how he got so many reviews. I met Dan for the first time a couple years ago when I interviewed him for my book, 5-Star Attorney. This book actually teaches you how to get more reviews for your law firm, but not only how to get more reviews, but how to make more money with those reviews, how to handle negative reviews, and ultimately how to grow your law firm using customer feedback. Now, for context, Dan Newland's law firm is pretty massive. In fact, he's got the largest personal injury law firm in Orlando, which is actually where Morgan & Morgan is located. And I believe as of this video, he's the #2 largest injury law firm in the entire country. But it wasn't always like that. They've used reviews to catapult their success. In fact, in 2014, they only had 43 reviews on Google. But Dan knew that reviews were the future of the internet, so he rallied his entire team, he got everybody together, and said that the future of this law firm is going to be dependent on what people say about us on the internet. At that point, he told all the employees that we have to work together and we have to get as many reviews as possible if we want this thing to grow. We are all one team and we've got to all be rowing the boat. So the first thing he did is he incentivized his staff. One of the coolest things that Dan does is he sets quotas and he sets goals for the staff. Now, when they hit these goals, they get rewarded with vacations and they get rewarded with bonuses and they get rewarded with promotions. Because at the end of the day, somebody has to have some incentive for the review to actually get left. Now, you obviously can't compensate your clients because that would be pretty easy. Just give them some Outback Steakhouse gift cards or some Starbucks gift cards and you'd probably get a lot of reviews. But unfortunately, in most areas, that's not necessarily ethical from the bar standpoint. So what do? You have to incentivize your staff. And the way that Dan does that is by providing bonuses and really cool incentives for both the attorneys and the support staff. For example, if the paralegals collectively hit a review goal, they will get their own vacation. I think he took them to Cancun. Now, the next thing he did is he made sure that the law firm had a start with the end in mind mentality. And what that means is that in most cases, the review is kind of an afterthought. You think about it as an, oh, by the way, at the end of the case. But that's not how this law firm works. The second a lead calls, before they're even a client, they're already focused on providing a 5-star experience. And they're trying to provide an experience for the client that will guarantee them a 5-star review from the beginning of the case. And that starts with them going overboard on communication with the client. The #1 complaint that law firms get is that the clients have a very difficult time getting in touch with their attorney and they just don't know what's going on with their case. And in fact, Newland used to work at other law firms where that was the case and he saw how big of a problem that was. So he said, our law firm is going to go overboard on communication. Emails, phone calls, text messages are all going to be returned in a timely manner so the clients feel heard and they know exactly what's going on. Additionally, every single client gets their respective attorney's cell phone number so that they can always be in touch with them. Now, the next tool that he uses is timing. A lot of times, people will ask for a review when the case is over. And that's not really gonna work because as soon as they leave with that settlement check, if they haven't left a review, they're gone. They may intend to leave a review, but they're not gonna leave a review, which I'm sure you've experienced. So what Dan does is he has his attorneys ask for the review before the last meeting. But what he does is he instructs the attorney to ask the client to print the review so that they can bring it in to show to Dan Newland. The act of asking them to print the review and bring it in before their settlement check has like skyrocketed the number of reviews that they get. And finally, they throw reciprocity in the mix. They use reciprocity, which is one of the most natural instincts that we have. If I invite you to my birthday party, then you feel obligated to reciprocate by inviting me to your birthday party. If I get you a gift, then you feel obligated to get me a gift. If I do something for you, you feel like you should do something for me. That's reciprocity. So the attorney says, hey, listen, while you're writing that review, I'm gonna go ahead and try to get these medical bills waived, which is gonna put more money in your pocket. But would you mind writing that review right now while I go do that? And that whole, I'm gonna do this for you, so will you do this for me, works like a charm. Reciprocity is so, so powerful. And then finally, the thing that impressed me the absolute most about Dan Newland, what he does is how he handles negative reviews. Positive reviews are all great, but what happens when you get a negative review? And when you have one of the largest law firms in the world, you're gonna get some negative reviews. So what Dan told me is that every single negative review that he gets, they immediately call the client, they try to work it out on the phone, and then Dan will actually get in his car and drive to their house, and they'll sit down and they'll talk it out. And what happens when he does this is it almost always converts the negative review to a 5-star review. And the reason why is because most of the time these issues are due to communication. So he's able to sit down, he's able to explain the circumstance. Sometimes it's as simple as it was a situation where the other party didn't have insurance and no attorney could recover anything, but someone on his staff didn't explain that properly, so the person was upset. So Dan understands that by sitting down and working through the situation and communicating properly, you can usually turn that 1-star review into a 5-star review. And his dedication to that is pretty crazy. I've never heard of an attorney ever doing that before. Now, the last thing I want to say is that although Dan Newland's law firm is very, very large, he's got 80 attorneys and tons of staff, that doesn't mean that you can't do this too with your law firm. Just use these same principles and it will work for you. These principles work whether you're 1 attorney or 100 attorneys. Use these principles, get more 5-star reviews, and grow your law firm. I'll see you guys soon.